Alright guys, what is up? This is Homie from Dota Coach, and in this video I want to show you how to stack all the camps on the Dota 2 map. So I did my research, I checked out the timings for all the camps out here, and yeah, I'm going to show you how you stack all of these camps. We're going to start with the Radiant side, but I'm going to move over to the Dire side as well, and going to look at the Dire Ancient stacks, everything, right? And the reason why I'm doing this is because at the latest patch 7.06, as you will know, we finally get our creep spawns every minute now. So before we only get the neutral creep spawns every 2 minutes, and now we get it every minute, which is awesome, of course, right? And if you ask me, there's no doubt that stacking will become a huge part of the game again, especially now that everyone noticed how important stacking was, right? Now that we couldn't do it really. But yeah, let's get right into it. Before we start, I want to give you a few things you need to keep in mind whenever you stack a camp. So first of all, if you're a melee hero, pulling becomes harder and stack. And the reason is because if I'm a melee hero, I can't actually just hit the creep from distance and walk away to stack it. I actually need to run up to it and then turn around, right? So when I'm a ranged hero, it's like this. I can just attack and run away and there's no problem, right? But when I'm a melee hero, this becomes much harder because I have to run up to them, and sometimes they will hit me like this, and this makes the timing much more difficult, right? Second of all, ideally, you do not want to get hit by the neutrals when you're pulling. If I'm a melee hero, like I said, and I do this, and I let them attack me, that messes up my timing. So in order to be consistent with your stacks, you really want to do it so that the creeps do not attack you when you're stacking them, right? Because that makes it easier. And finally, the more creeps you're trying to pull, the harder it gets. So if I have a 2 or 3 stack here, for most camps, actually the 3 stack will already be very difficult. 2 stack will usually be doable, but the 3 stack will already be super difficult. And yeah. Alright, so before I show you every single stack and how to do it, I have a map here for you which shows all the stack timings and also shows exactly how to do them. So just so you know what this means, so if I put it R after the number, it means it's random, so it's not guaranteed stack. So T means you need to have to cut some trees. E means you have to attack early, like early 55 for example, and L means late, so late 55 for example. Alright, so let's start by stacking the Radiant medium camp right here. The Radiant medium camp is one of the shittiest camps to stack on the map, I think, because as you can see here, the spawn box of the camp is quite huge, and the creeps are gonna have to walk a very large distance out of the camp before they can be stacked. So in the pub game, I would say doing a 2 stack for this is doable, but I wouldn't really go for the 3 stack because it's just too difficult, and if you get bad camps, it's even impossible sometimes. So the timings for this are both 55. So at 55 you want your attack to land in order to stack the camp, and this is for both the 2 stack and for the 3 stack. And the 4 stack with this camp is impossible to do. You can simply forget about it. So let's do the first stack here, and like I said, the attack needs to land at 55. So attack a little bit earlier than that and just let the attack go, and as you can see here, this will stack the camp. The 3 stack, like I said, is much more difficult, but with this constellation it's doable actually. So if you, for example, you got the ogre camp and the satyr camp, which would leave you with a total of 7 creeps here, then even the 3 stack I would say is pretty much impossible and you should just forget about it. But if you get a constellation like this, it's actually quite doable. So let's start doing the 2nd stack here. So you want to do this a little bit later, so the attack still needs to land at 55, but a little bit later than before. So like this. And as you can see, it worked barely. But like I said, this is a super difficult stack, and honestly I would advise you not to go for the 3 stack, because it's just very inconsistent. Probably won't work often. Alright, so next up, let's try to stack this Radiant Hard camp right here. Now this camp is a little bit easier to stack, and as you can see the timings, you can actually do a 4 stack with a little bit of a trick. So, but let's do the 2 stack first. So you want your attack to hit at 55, just like this. And as you can see, this will stack the camp for a 2 stack. The thing now with this this camp is you can obviously, you could either stack it up this way, or you can stack that down this way. And stacking it down this way is much easier. And actually, if you want to do a 3 stack and you stack it up this way, it's impossible. So you can only do the 2 stack up this way, but you cannot do the 3 stack. And yeah, the 4 stack we're going to look at it later. But this is why I would always advise you to stack down here, because it's easier. Alright, now we got our 3 stack coming up. And the 3 stack, the timing is a little bit very short. But you want to hit at 55, but like kind of late 55, right? So just like this. This was a good timing, I think. And as you can see, we will now have our 3 stack here. So if you want to do a 4 stack, you need to do a little bit of a trick here, because it's hard, right? So you need to cut a total of 3 trees to do this. First of all, this tree right here, this tree right here, and then you want to cut this tree.
With skipping grace.
And you could probably do it without cutting another, but for safety you want to cut this tree as well. And now the idea is you want to hit at 56, so your attack lands at 56, and then you want to run away diagonally so that the creeps kind of split up, and some walk this way and some walk this way. And then you can do a 4 stack. So let us just do this. So hit at 56. And there you go, you have a 4 stack. Now, it's pretty consistent to do this, but it needs a little bit of practice. But I think if you actually can pull this off as a support consistently, I think this is a very good thing to do for pubs. Like, just imagine giving like your Sven a 4 stack here, or like giving your Axe a 4 stack, right? It's just incredibly good. So to recap, you can do the 2 stack up this way. You cannot do the 3 stack up this way, it's impossible. If you want to do a 4 stack, you need to cut 3 trees like this, and then hit at 56. And for the first 2 stacks, you want to hit at 55 and run down this way. So next up we have the Radiant medium camp number 2 here. Now the timing for these stacks, pretty easy. Yeah, let's just do the first stack here. So you want your attack to hit at 55. Just like that. And as you can see, you have a very big window for the first stack where this works. Here's the thing about this camp. So first of all, obviously you can either stack it this way or that way, but I prefer to stack it up this way, so it's just easier, you have a bigger window. But here's the thing with this camp. If you get fortunate spawns, meaning you get few units here to spawn, you can stack this camp 4 times without any help. Cutting a few trees allows you to get as much as 6 stacks pretty easily, right? But it depends on your spawns. So if you get, for example, the Wraith spawn, or the Satyr spawn, I should say, which gets you 4 units, and then you get like the Wolf spawn, which gets you 3 units, and you have 7 units, the stack can randomly just not work. But anyway, let's do the second stack. Also attack hits at 55.
Gambling on.
And now we have a 3 stack. The 3 stack, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And yeah, like I said, the problem with this camp is sometimes it just randomly doesn't work, right? Because you can hit it and like things can happen, you know. For example, here the unit just turned around for no reason. And if I do this again, it might work, probably. But anyway, now that we have this, we can start cutting some trees, just like before, to get our stack to work. So you want to first cut those 2 trees, and then also cut this 1 tree right here. Actually, that was the wrong tree. Cut this tree, right? You don't need to cut this one, just the one above. Now you can do up to a 6 stack. These are the timings for that. So the 4 stack you want to hit at 55 early. So for the the fourth stack, hit at 55 early. So like early 55 you want your attack to land. So I'm gonna hit at like 54. And then I just run straight this way. So I again split the creeps off like diagonally like this. Of course you could also cut these 2 trees, but it's not necessary. Just to recap, we now have a 4 stack here. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And we can do a 5th stack, and you will see it's pretty easy with the cut trees here. And for the 5th stack, you want to hit at 55 early again. So hit at 54 and have it hit, attack land at 55 early. Just like this. And hopefully this works. Yeah. You can see the window is actually quite large, right? And now we have a 5 stack here. The 6 stack is also possible with the cut trees here, of course, where you want your attack to land at 54 now. So you want to hit like at late 53, right?
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Just like that. Here we go.
Foraging.
And there we go, 6 stacks. It depends on a little bit on your spawns. Like as you see right now, I got no wraith. Satyr, why do I call them wraiths? So if you get a satyr spawn, I would not go for this. But if you have like a camp here, and you don't actually get the satyr spawn, I would actually go for this. I think having a 6 stack is probably pretty strong, right? And just to demonstrate to you that the 7 stack won't work probably, I'm going to hit at 54 again, but it won't work probably. So as you can see now, there's just too many creeps. They all block each other, and I actually got it again. Yeah,
Yes.
like I practiced this a lot before I made the video, and I didn't get the 7 stack after a few tries. So yeah, I can just tell you that the 7 stack is pretty random. But like you just saw, if you hit at 54, you can get the 7 stack, but it's inconsistent. Alright, so next up we have the Radiant small camp and the Radiant hard camp right next to the lane. I'm not actually going to show you how to stack those camps a million times, because it's actually useless to stack them. I would never stack these camps in a real game, just because they're actually, one, they are so close to the enemy, so they can really steal it easily. And 2, you only really want to stack this so you can pull. So let's stack this one right away. You want to hit at 55 like always.
Here I come.
And just run down this way,
I
and
spring.
the camp will stack. So the only reason why you ever stack this camp is so that you can pull it into the lane. And while we're at it, I'm going to show you the pull timings. So if you want to pull this, you want to hit at about 15.
Skip ahead.
And if you're a little bit late, then you can block them like this, and you can still pull it. But pulling is a different story, right?
Yes.
So now you pulled this camp. This camp you always want to stack it down this way. You never want to go up this way. So yeah. And the same goes for this camp. If you stack it, attack at 55 or later, doesn't matter that much for this camp because it's easy to stack. Then you have a stack. So, and the special thing about this camp as well is, if you stack this camp at 55, you can actually pull this right into the lane, as you will know, and it will pull your own creeps while actually stacking the camp. So this is pretty interesting, right? So this has been it for these 2 camps. I think there's not much more to say about this. You don't want to stack this camp either, just because even if your carry would farm this, it's very dangerous because it's right next to the lane, and it will probably get stolen as well if you stack this a lot. Right, so finally we have the 2 Radiant offlane camps. These camps are pretty straightforward to stack, and they're also not very nice to stack because they're pretty inconsistent, but it's still possible. So I would generally only advise you to go try and do 1, maybe 2 stacks off of these camps. But anyway, let's do the first one. Let's do the large camp here. So for the large camp you want to hit at 55, pretty straightforward. And the best way to do it is to run up this ramp right here. This is just the easiest way. You can do the first stack if running up here or down here, but only the first stack. So the second and third stacks will not work if you run here or here. You can only do them up here. So
Enchanting.
for example, take a look at this. If you run here now, then these creeps will never leave the spawn box and you will not have a window to stack. Second stack also one hit at 55 and then run straight up.
After him.
Just like that. And didn't work. So this is what I'm talking about. This camp is super inconsistent, especially if you get 2 camps with 3 units right away. So this is why I would advise you, if you stack this camp, only do it once, maybe twice if you get 2 creeps only. For example, the red guy camp. I'm gonna try one more time now.
Nimbly I go.
So yeah, you see how tiny the window is? Like, I barely got this stack. So now this is a 3 stack. You could do one more stack, but with this constellation it's barely possible because there's too many units.
Gambling.
So that is that for this camp. Let's move on to the next one. The next one, if you get the right creeps, you can actually stack this a huge amount of time. As you can see, first stack one hit at 55, and there we go. Now with this camp, you want to always run this way. Okay, so the second stack,
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
whenever you get these satyrs, you want to hit a little bit early, so 54 is the goal.
There they are.
And here we go.
There
Got
they
it.
are.
Now for the third stack, again we have the satyr, so we want to hit early 54,
Horns
so
out.
boom, I think that was good.
Horns out.
So 5 stack, you want it at 53.
Hoofing it. Skip
There we
ahead.
go. The 5 stack, of course, is like kind of possible to do. That would take you, of course, 5 minutes in your game. But anything past this point is very hard to do, I would say, in a game. So the 6 stack and 7 stack. But I'm gonna show it anyway. Just maybe you get the opportunity, right? So for the 6 stack,
Okay.
once again hit at 53. And that one was a little bit... okay, still
Let's
worked.
race.
So this is a 6 stack. I'm not sure if I can do the 7 stack because I have 2 of the satyr camps, but I'm gonna try anyway. Usually you would hit at 52 for the 7 stack, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. So here we go, let's try this. I don't know if it's gonna work. So 52 is the goal.
Hightailing it.
And no, doesn't work.
Hightailing
And
it.
the reason is because I got 2 satyr camps. If I only had 1 satyr camp in here, or maybe even no satyr camp, then you could definitely get the 7 stack. So anyway, these are these last 2 camps. Now we only have the Radiant by Ancients left, and then we're done with Radiant. Alright guys, finally we have the Radiant Ancients. So let's start out with the Radiant Middle Ancients here.
Skip ahead.
These can be stacked a lot too, and it's pretty straightforward. You can either stack them up this way, or down this way of course. But I would always stack it down this way, because stacking them up is of course very dangerous, because you're then on the river then. First stack is at 55, pretty
Yes.
easy. When you stack these Ancients, something to keep in mind is that you actually have to run quite far
It's a
away.
hop, skip, and a
Because
jump.
if you stand here, they will still hit you actually, which especially early will do quite a bit of damage to you, so
Nimbly I
always
go.
run away quite far to stack those. Good thing we get these Ancients here, because there's something special about this Ancient Thunderhide, so the white guy here, the dragon guy, right? Because this guy has a spell that is called Frenzy, and the thing is he will use the spell, and sometimes if you stand here and then run away immediately, right now it didn't happen, but it can happen randomly. What can happen is that he uses his Frenzy, and by the time he used it, you're already out of his range, so he doesn't actually aggro on you, and he will stay right there. So keep in mind. So now we want it at 54. There we go. Again, run away far, and there's the stack. And our next stack is going to be done at 52.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. And I'm just going to show you, I stay pretty far back, right? But just watch how these creeps are going to attack me now. This one especially. Oh, actually it didn't happen. But yeah, I got the stack. And now for our last stack, the last possible stack, we actually have to cut one tree,
Yeah.
which is this tree right here. You want to cut this tree to do the next stack. Oops. So now that you cut the tree, you want to stack at 51. And this one is pretty tight, but I think it should work. There we go. Alright,
Yeah.
now finally we have the Radiant Ancients on the easy side. So stacks here are pretty straightforward. So the first stack you want to do it at 54.
Get him.
And yeah, as you can see, you have a big window for the first stack. As such, you can also do the first stack running this way or this way. But, you know, in general, I think it's easiest to do it running straight down here. So 3 stack, you want it at 54 again.
Yes.
There we go.
With
Now the
skipping
4th stack, you want
grace.
it at 52. Here we go. And boom, there's my stack. The 5 stack, you also want to do it at 52.
Skip ahead.
Okay, so after the 5 stack, you can stack it a 5th time for a 6 stack. But that is pretty much random and you still want it at 52, so
This is
here we
fun.
go. But this stack is a little bit random. Sometimes it just doesn't work. As you can see here.
Yes. Attack.
And there we go. You see the timing is pretty tight, but it's possible to do. So like if you got nothing better to do in your game, then you can go for the 6 stack even. But yeah, these have been all the camps for Radiant. So I'm gonna do Dire in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think you all learned something here. Stacks are definitely gonna be very nice. So I hope you liked it. If you liked it, make sure you leave us that thumbs up. And I see you next time.